I'll be going through the answers quickly, so make sure your course book is open in front of you, and please stop and rewind the video as you need to. So, got your book open in front of you? Are your answers in capitals? Want to know why the answers are the answers? Then let's go. For question number 1, we've got to understand what we're trying to do with the language here. And this word, this gap, forms part of an expression which links the idea that comes after with what the idea just presented before. So we need a linking expression. Here, adverbs very often form part of linking expressions, and that's exactly what we need here, the answer being surprisingly. For question number 2, we have to understand the context here, and the context is that we're talking about people who believe this kind of education is better than another form of education. If that's the case, we're talking about, or we think we need, a personal plural noun. In this case, the answer will be supporters. For question number 3, the gap that we've got here refers back to the language pattern beforehand, because right after the gap we've got a semicolon which in effect closes off this clause. If we have a look at that language pattern, we've got a sense of something and something. In other words, a sense of noun plus noun. What's the noun that we're looking for here? Responsibility. For question 4, the language pattern is relatively simple here. To make plus noun. But here we've got a modifier before the noun which suggests that there's going to be a plural form of that noun. To make many decisions. For question number 5, let's have a look at the language patterns on both sides of the gap. First of all, we've got the verb structure beforehand, which leads to what? Well, if we have a look after the gap, we can see that we've got increased self-confidence, which means that we've got our adjective plus noun pattern. If we have a look before the gap, we can see that we've got our adjective. The only thing that we're missing is the noun. What's the noun that we need? Independence. For question 6, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Before the gap we've got an article, but we don't have the noun to which that article refers. After the gap we've got of. Normally before of we would have a noun of some kind. What noun do we need here? Development. Question 7, language patterns. Before the gap we've got a modal verb. What follows modal verbs? Bare infinitives. Here we need a bare infinitive. What's the infinitive form of the stem word? Strengthen. For question number 8, there's a number of ways of looking at this in order to get the right answer. First of all, let's have a look at it from the point of view of language or sentence structure. Most, if not all, sentences require a verb. Subject, verb, object is the common active voice pattern. Here we can see the subject, we can see the object, which refers to a child's appreciation, but the verb is somehow missing. What a child's appreciation? Also, before the gap, we've got an adverb, and adverbs modify verbs as well as adjectives, but the adjective would make no sense here. So we need a verb of some kind in the correct form, because you've got to have subject-verb agreement. So what's the answer that we're looking for? Heightens.